And we are live. The vibe
Woo!
are immaculate. Immaculate.
Indeed, brother.
My
Indeed.
best friend, Andreas.
Double masculine to double masculine.
Double
Number one.
masculine, we turn up.
Who is the biggest number one?
Who is the biggest number one?
I don't know. How high are you?
How high am I?
Hmm,
Pretty high.
exactly. Pretty high. I'm fly as a motherfucker.
High as a mother.
And that's what I mean by the inner vibe. It's just silly every time. It's like,
But hello. Here
hello,
with
hello.
Andreas.
Yo,
Right?
so what up?
Andreas reached out, wanted to chat. We had some things in common. He thinks I'm obnoxious, which is totally cool.
Exciting.
And he wanted to come on so that
I'm gonna
he
hear, but
could grow.
I feel like I'm gonna hear for that the rest of my life now. That I
No,
said
no,
that.
no, no, you aren't.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
So, Andreas, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself, just a bit of baseline. Just tell us about like where you're from and kind of where you're going and what your goals are.
Yeah. Well, basically, I'm from Denmark, right? Danish, Scandinavia. I'm from a place outside of Copenhagen, so it's not Copenhagen, but it's very, very close to, right? Grew up kind of like a little bit get a little bit street like, a little bit rough environment, whatever. But it's alright. It's not like Compton, if you know what I mean. It's not like Compton in the '80s or something like that. It's pretty chill. um yeah, and basically, like my whole life, been trying to escape the school system, I think, to go out and make music and write books, and do my own thing, because I'm a number one, so I have to like say fuck this system and break out of it and do my own thing, right? And also
Yeah,
with Ti, it kind of just enhances that.
yeah.
But yeah, I think like, just to summarize my life story very like shortly,
Yeah.
it's probably like that. Yeah, just that's kind of my thing. Grew up in a little rough environment, a little bit some gangster stuff, I guess, I suppose.
There's
And
stuff in
then,
Denmark, not what I imagine.
well, it's not that big, but it's actually like for a lot
It's
of
just like
years it's
the
just been.
one neighborhood in Denmark.
Have you heard
The
about Sweden? Have you heard about Sweden though? They're pretty tough too, actually. I've heard. Like they
oh
have
yeah.
some problems. Yeah,
Okay.
actually, it's like it's not the toughest place in the world, right? But it's just the crimes are like doing like this, and people are. There are places and
Okay.
people that you don't want to mess with, but it's not. As I
Gotcha.
say, it's not Compton. It's not Compton. It's not.
Yeah.
But you definitely don't want to mess with them, anyways, right? So,
I mean, there are places in America with higher death rates than I know Brazil is. People are afraid of Brazil. There are places in America with higher death rates than like Brazil, or have had
yeah,
that happen.
yeah,
Yeah. So there have
I
been little
know.
spots where it gets bad. So that makes sense. But I don't know. I visited Europe. I thought it was a utopia, like pretty much. But I'm just
Well,
kidding.
it is pretty great. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be all nationalist and say Denmark is the greatest country in the world. But honestly, like, I hate Denmark. I hate Denmark. But honestly, it's probably one of the best countries to live in the world. Actually, I won't lie.
Mhm.
Objectively speaking, it probably is. I just hate my own country because I'm a DI and I'm like, fuck the tribe, So
All about perspective.
yes,
Um,
exactly.
have you ever traveled anywhere?
Yes, I have been to like mostly Europe, right? I haven't
Yeah.
really been any, like, unless you take Anatolia or Turkey, and say that's Asia. I guess I've been to Asia,
Gotcha.
uh, but no, Europe is the only thing, and then we can name all the European countries. But like, nah, it doesn't matter. I
Uh,
haven't been to Amsterdam, and I heard you can buy weed there legally, so maybe I should one day.
maybe. Maybe.
Maybe.
Well, you told me that you were a writer, and I was very interested in what you were writing about. You told me you were writing high fantasy, so hit me. I want to hear about it for sure. For
It's
sure.
like a dark fantasy, if you know what I mean, with a lot of inspiration from anime and manga, I suppose,
Okay.
but also a lot of inspiration from The Witcher, Lord of the Rings, of course, right? And
Mhm.
what is it called? Game of Thrones. You know, it's Skyrim, Elder Scrolls. It's
Yeah.
got everything,
Okay.
honestly. But dark fantasy with some comedy and a lot of action and a lot of horror elements to it also. Because I like when I grew up, I loved reading horror books. Stephen King was one of my favorites, of course.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's it's a. I don't know how to explain the plot, to be honest, because the plot is like it's very TI complex, if that makes sense, and very SI organized in some sense. Like it's very
Do
it's big.
do you find yourself like writing more like what's happening or plotting more or
Um, I see myself doing a bit of both, to be honest. Like okay, at the beginning when I started the story, I got the inspiration for the plot and everything, right? I just was world building. I wasn't even necessarily plotting that much. It was just pure world building. But I did have some sense of like some sort of story. But as I was living life, the story just came to me over time. Um, so yeah, like it's only now actually. It's been a half a year, I think now, something like that, where I'm actually starting to really like delve into the writing process of like the boring essay of like, and then he went to this place and then he did this thing and blah
Mm.
blah blah. But like for years I was scheming and plotting like the good number one I am, you know. Yeah, for a long time, and then yeah, now we're here. Now I'm writing it. I'm not that far, but I'm actually like the like masculine SI, I don't know about you, but masculine SI is so goddamn slow. Like the progress to build something, takes forever, man. But once you actually have built that SI foundation, right? It's becomes quite fast actually. It comes to a point where it's like it kind of just builds itself somewhat, and I can feel the tipping point of that. I can feel like we are reaching to that area of it because now it's just a like I have been writing stories before many times, but it's been short stories and I have
Mhm.
been mostly writing rap music and those sort of things, right?
Mhm.
So it was definitely like I had to change my brain and the way my brain works to like make this work probably and learn how to like write probably and write a lot and also like have a way in my mind to like um, have an overview of it because like if I don't have an overview, like thing will get chaotic. Hey, demon chaos. Huh?
Yeah, it does.
Uh, yes. So I need to have like things organized, and that was a big like a surprise to me. So like I had to learn this. It was a whole new world I had to learn. Yeah, and still is. I'm still just learning through the blast, I suppose.
Yeah. So um when you come up with your writing or what you want to write about, is it your double mat? We were talking about this earlier. Is it how does it come to you? Some people think much more in words, and some people think are you like I'm just speaking from experience that
Yeah.
for me I've started to realize that it was this visual kinetic world like a movie playing out.
Mm.
So like you had told me that you're like, oh, the action scenes. I'm like, yeah, like my brain is generating that all the time. Like and I'll just like start living in this. It's very emotional. Like it's very much like intense, dark emotions.
With that, if it makes totally sense. Like
Yeah.
I don't feel like mine is emotional. Like it gets emotional when I'm writing it. That's the funny part I've noticed. When I'm writing it, I can feel the emotions, but when I'm
Pretty
thinking
lost
about it, it's pure Ti. It's
that.
pure
Okay.
Ti. I have no emotions whatsoever when I'm like puzzling it all together, right? Like
Mhm.
it's wild. But once I'm starting writing it, I can feel like, whoa, this scene was actually a little bit heavy. Wow, I got surprised about the emotional impact of this, right? So yeah.
Well, why don't you tell me like a bit about your world, the world itself, like
The world itself. Well, the world is actually, and that is why it's funny. The world is actually inspired a lot about OPS. Actually, there's
oh
a lot of OPS in this book, and
yeah.
if you know OPS and you ever read this book, you will definitely see it. I promise you that one. You will definitely see it. It's
So when you say that, is the magic or is the world or is the societies or you just come with the characters?
the characters, like the characters and the magic system. I have a magic system, where I, especially the sexuality of the functions, where I have like taking them in. So if you have, to give an example, right? I thought like stone, earth, right? That's a very masculine sensory
Yeah.
thing, right? So I thought, okay, if you have masculine earth, right, and then you go like up here and then mix earth with fire, and fire is, let's say, masculine DE. I don't know why, but I just chose that for that. So
Right.
masculine DE, and then you twist it together, and then you got double masculine, and then it's lava, you know, because.
Oh.
So I kind of like changed some elements, things to it, and put it into that. And then I have been trying to also with the characters be like, my lead character, he's tripping over some stuff because he's demon consume and he's demon sensory also. So like I've been trying to like take characteristics and stereotypical things from each type that we sometimes jokes about in the community, right? Yeah. Uh, and take them and then put it into the books and the characters to give them more life, but also make them more funny. Actually, I think make them more goofy to some degree.
You know what? I found I know this may be weird to hear from a double decider, but I found
Ooh.
that often it was hard for me to write because my main character was partially me, and I
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
willing to face how I would face that situation currently.
for
And
real, for real.
because of that, I had to start changing my behavior in reality to make myself more brave so that I could do those things.
That's
So like
therapy. That's therapy to
it
yourself,
is
man. Ah,
writing
goddamn.
the story has been therapy for me. Yeah.
But that's this funny thing because I feel the same. I feel the same. I won't lie. Like my story is very much inspired by my real life. I won't say only my real life. It's inspired by everything, to be honest with you. But it's definitely an creative and artist way of expressing my life story, I
Yeah.
suppose. So I have definitely have the same. Whereas like that's why it's emotionally impacting you because it's like I relate to that. They also.
Well, I was what was it? Like I was studying I've been studying like occult mysticism now. No, listen to this. And I start noticing OP patterns in the elements and the spirits and the this and the that. Like,
Whoa,
and
doesn't
if
surprise
you,
me.
yeah. So it's like in Kabbalah, like there are the false light Luciferian beings, and then the material you'd almost call them demonic, and that they're both
Yeah.
misleading you on both sides and the ways the middle path. And they were talking about like the material demonic spirits, right? And they were saying the weird thing that when you interface with these beings is that what they what they have to provide to you is their higher self. They have extreme intelligence. So you would imagine demons are SF, right? Like
Mm,
animalistic. That's how we
mm,
portray them. But
mm.
if you go to them because they have the levers of reality, they give you intelligence. Like that's what this guy was saying. I was like extreme intelligence. I was like, what the heck? Like, and then it's like, and then on the false light side, the Luciferian beings, the beings of leading, inflating your ego and taking off the path and going, you're special and so spiritual, but don't take care of anything in reality. They said what they provide us is their lower self. They inflate like so the mystics who show up in a congregation that the church suppresses, like feel married to these beings in this extreme marriage, and it's like so SF, like this sensual nature. I was like, well, this is so weird. This is this such an interesting duality. And the other thing is,
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest thing I feel, I keep saying this, the biggest thing, and it's probably my obsession with my contradiction of my gender, my savior functions, and my demon functions, the masculinity in it, like,
Yeah.
and my modality is I'm like, oh my gosh, people need to understand the relativity of like gender, like in your psychology. Like, this would help so many people.
Yeah, for
This
sure,
is
for
like a
sure.
war of the sexes, and I just keep because it's me, and there's a war of the sex in me. Like,
Yeah, for sure. I feel like it really helps to know that you are not purely masculine by
yeah,
design or purely feminine by design. And it doesn't matter your biology, right? Like
yeah,
you definitely have a masculine side and a feminine side. I can see it in myself. Like yeah, I'm not all day double masculine, whatever, right? Sometimes I'm very feminine, and sometimes it's it's so definitely. But it's funny you're saying it because I definitely also see OPS like I definitely get why Shannon and Dave are saying sometimes you can get a bit psychotic about it because you
Yes.
can see OPS everywhere and it is every fucking where. Like in the way people talk and what they say, and in movies and TV shows and books and just everywhere. And you're kind of like sitting back and being like, yo, that's just you being demon NC, like you're just, or whatever it is, right? Insert your own demon here. But yeah, like I have these ESFP, I have like now 5 ESFP come up to me and be like, Andreas, you know what's the meaning of life and what's important in life? That's to experience new shit, like good, valuable new shit. And I'm like, okay, ESFP, like that may be true for you, but like not necessarily for me. But okay, like so, like it's so weird to have like people of the same type come up to me and say the same dumb shit. I don't know if it's dumb. It is what it is, right? But still, you just kind of like what and the person sometimes even look like each other and actually have the same health problems sometimes, and you're just sitting there like, okay, damn. So yeah, that's interesting.
It's what is it like? What's funny was I was on the Discord and I was like, one time we were talking, I was like, yeah, we just gotta admit to ourselves that OP is a weapon just to use to fuck with people. That's all. That's all it's used for. You can just use it as a weapon.
I have done that too as well, actually. Sometimes I'm not so proud of it. Oh yes, there is one time I'm proud of. My mother's SI, she a feminine SI, she's an ISTJ, and I just fuck with her SI all day long. Oh, I used to a lot actually. I don't do it because she actually gets very fearful of it. Like it's extremely stressful for her. But what I used to do is like SI have systems for things, right? And if you just like I could go up to her books or whatever and just like change them around, it would mess with her brain because she could instantly feel that something is changed. Yeah, and it was like she actually panicked and she actually stressed and got anxiety over it, and I was like, at only like it was nothing big. It was nothing big,
Yeah,
but it was enough.
I find that so interesting. What was it? The Neil Patrick Harris one where Dave's talking about he's an observer,
Mm.
and if you watch Dave's state, he's actually getting emotional. He's saying, "This
Yeah.
is what I'm dealing with," and he goes, and it's like, "Yeah, oh, you're a decider. You don't have self worth. Oh, you don't like." Everyone pats you on the back and goes, "Oh, we understand." If you're an observer,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh my gosh, the dishes make me want to kill. I literally want to die. Like I'm literally suicidal right now. I literally am like gonna throw myself off a mountain, and no one. And then he's like, no one understands. I'm like, is this whole system just to explain to everyone that, hey guys, I have these issues?
I actually like this is real self growth. I actually have for these this year and last year started to realize because as a double observer, right? I don't really take it seriously the single observing freakouts, right? But I've actually started to care more about it and give respect and love to people when they're going through it because I realized I think it was Dante. Shout out to Dante from the community SIFI, and she actually was like, I could just read the FE in the comments, the vibe of it, just like I wish people would respect and actually give like not teasing too much, not being a bully about it too much and an asshole about it too much because it's actually very stressful. And then I was like, you know what? Yes, because I'm freaking out about things over here and I don't want to be like judged by it. But at this, so I gotta give that back. So I've actually started to be like, yes, when my friends or whatever, a family member have a single observer freak out, it deep in my heart, I still don't respect it. I still find it very
Well,
weird and strange.
you
But
say
I
deep
am
in your heart. I would say automatically, but maybe you're like, yes, it really is deep in my heart. I do not care.
that was just a way of expressing it. I don't have a heart. I'm iffy, so like it's non-existent. I don't have FI. But no,
Yeah.
but do you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to like being like do the double deciding and be like, yeah, but I can actually it is not fun and stressful and be more not trying to make it a joke because I can definitely see and I can start to notice it now that a lot of single deciders actually just without any shame, joke about it. Once the single observer dude is going through shit, we just joke about it and we don't care and we don't really take it seriously. And that's actually a little bit hurting to them. I started to notice that. And then I was like, you know what? I gotta stop like making jokes all the time about it and then be more, taking it more seriously, actually looking at it like, yeah, this is actually some deep dark shit, and this is something that actually pains you a lot or gives you a lot of anxiety or whatever, right? Actually a little bit of self-growth for that, I suppose. And I wouldn't like really think about it if it wasn't for Dante in the community actually like expressing that randomly in the comment, where I just randomly read it and I'm like, like the NEF just clicked there, you know what I mean? Like, just understood emotionally. Yeah.
Well, here's a question for you to bring up my observer brain.
Hey, go.
Is like it. I find that my growth is coming from squaring contradictions. So it's like something feels, even in relationships, something feels like a contradiction that's impossible, that I can't face. Like I can't do this and that, and I have to go like this and that. So it's like in relationships, it's like, can I be with someone and apart from them?
Yeah. That's
And
also very EP like, actually. I heard a lot of EPs talk about that too.
what do you mean, the together and apart, or
Yeah,
the
that specifically, actually. I don't know why, but I have heard a lot about EPs being like, it's so weird, like the thing about being apart or being together, and like it's messes with their brain for some reason.
And but it feels decidery, like to me. But maybe
Yeah. I think it's about the control, actually. It's about the chaos, it's about the control. Because yes, it is the salary, but you're not really freaking out about the person being mean to you necessarily. You're freaking out about like, if that, how to put it into words, I can't even like probably describe it. But it's kind of like, do you want the same thing? If that makes sense. Like the routine, you want the same thing, or you need some change and you need
you
to
want
jump
the same
around.
environment.
Yes, exactly. And sometimes people, like, not to objectify people, but people are sometimes just the environment, like, if that makes sense. Like they are just they are part of your routine, they are part of your life, they're part of things. So therefore people can become a thing, because like if you have a friend group or you go to school with someone, they kind of become a part of the school system. So yes, of course you are chill with them if they're like, hey, you're an asshole. Oh yeah, I can see I'm an asshole right now. But you're still freaking out about like, should we, be forget together forever, or should we break up forever? I think though with every type, doesn't matter if you're single decider or single observer, you will have some let's take me example. I will have some single deciding problems that will then turns into observer problems, and it can also like be in a different order. I'm just saying that you will most times, I have noticed, when it comes to tidal waves, you're not actually getting hit by one thing, but you're only noticing the one thing because that's what triggers you the most, but you're actually both getting fucked over by the observers and the deciders. Doesn't matter if you're single or double decider. It doesn't matter. You get hit by both, but your brain just gets triggers most by one thing and not necessarily the other thing. Necessarily. Uh, just a pattern I've noticed. I don't know how much it's true or whatever. But yeah, because I will get fucked by like SI and NE too. If I don't do the SI, oh god damn. Or if I don't do the NE, like god damn, And that's also very fucking painful. Like I really suffered because I fucked up the SI, or I fucked up the NE, or the NI, or SE for that matter. I really did. And that then lead to some single decider struggles or problem or drama, like that. The observation and the information can lead to the decider, and the decider can lead to the information, if that makes sense. Like if you rock around and like a big hater and just shit on everyone and just doesn't give a shit, and I don't know, then everyone will get after you. That's also kind of controlling in a sense, when they get out after you and cast you away, because now you are like controlled in that sense of you're not allowed to explore these possibilities with these people, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if that made any sense, but like it's just a funny thing I've noticed.
Well, I mean, like for me, I noticed. I felt like I kind of met someone who was an opposite type a little while back, who uh, who I was, who was like very opposite.
Oh,
and I kind of was like, well, they're gonna fix my problems, like they're like they're gonna take care of all the problems for me. They're gonna even it out, and then it's just like there were so many sparks at the beginning, and then like once usually I'm the one who chases and gets attached, and they start chasing, and then I was like, wait, we have irreconcilable differences that are like I don't
yeah.
like, and I just had to start going like, yeah, I just have to take care of this for myself. I have an old video that's literally about relationships, and I'm like, I was not as jovial back then. I was like, if you're looking for a mommy or a daddy when you're opposite type, you're not ready. And then it's like, even though I have the information, I kept doing it. And when we broke up, I was like, hey, I think I got into this relationship because I was looking for like we both had parental issues, even though like whatever. It was like, and once I recognized that, whoosh, everything was gone. Like it's like it
That's
wasn't
what we
real.
call a Freudian slip.
It was. It was so Freudian. It was so Freudian. And I was just like, I was just like, so the funny thing is what I was trying to communicate to people was like, there was so much obsession with type, and I've been in that too. We're like, I need to find the right type. I need to find the
Yeah.
right type of person. The person who's the right type. And it's like, and part of that is because Dave and Shan are opposites.
I think also I might have like put a little bit coal into that fire, if you know what I mean. Because I have myself been like, I really want to try feminine FE one day because like most people around me have been FITE, and then I actually after I broke up with a girlfriend, I was like, you know what, I want to try FE, not because I want to like I just want to experience it. You know what I mean? I just want to
You
try
kind
it.
of have to try. You do have to. I think you have to burn it out. As an EP, who has to try
Sure.
to.
But the thing about it is I do not really fucking care if it's Savior FE or not. What I care about is the self growth. I can do any type if for that matter. The type doesn't really matter to me. Um, it's the self growth part of it, and also like I actually met a girl who is just a friend, but she is NITE, and she's actually very good without even knowing it herself, faking FE. She fakes FE all the time, and that's very nice for me. I really enjoy and get a lot of meaning and a lot of like motivation and generally speaking, love and light in my life when I'm with an FE I can do FE with. So therefore, it's very meaningful for me. And with that, I say it's not so much about finding that specific type. It's more about the self growth. It's the person's self growth. Then I don't give a shit. Honestly, I've just been trying. Like I really want to try feminine FE savior. Like I really want to try what's that's like.
Yeah.
Just to try
Well,
it. You know?
that's what it was like. It was like I was with
Ah,
Sleep Last SI. And it was like I will SI you, but I will not SI myself. And it was very like the DE was actually just like every time there was a fight, it was you did this, you did this, you did this, you did it. And I was like, yeah, I did that. And I was like, this
damn.
is this is starting to get weird. Like, and it's all on me and none on you. And
Yeah, that is a little bit like.
it was a bit much. And but the other thing is I started to see the reflection of myself, right? That like I got into so many relationships and when like, oh, you're great, and you're gonna make me feel this way, and you're gonna do this for me, and it's just like the first thing I'm like, and I was like, and then the tables got turned because I was chasing so much and never allowed someone to chase me. That
Yeah.
then once it happened to me, I was like, oh, that's what I look like. And I was just like, gosh, like. And it really just turned on that I'm like I need to take care of my own stuff. I need to
Yeah.
take care of my own things.
For
I
sure. I
need
think
to
I think sometimes the chasing game, and that this is just with everybody, the chasing game can become very toxic and very like not very good for self growth. I definitely like sometimes you do need to chase. I'm not saying that. I do think there's a time and place for chasing, but I think at the same time you should also just focus on yourself and let the girls come to you. I do that more or less. I would actually say at the moment I'm not chasing anything or trying anything with anybody. I do have interest in some people that might be potentially interesting, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not really. going after anything. I'm just taking it very slow and very chill with it. Also because I wanna, like, as a single decider, I very fast. I'm like, oh, I know this person already, but I haven't really DEFE or consumed anything about this person. So I need to be more slow to be like, okay, but do I actually really wanna, live with this person and work with this person and whatever it might not be? Because you don't know people actually. Even if you know them for a year, you don't know people. You
Yeah.
you gotta take some time before you really truly know people, right? So that's why I'm taking it slow, because I'm like, yes, you're fucking sexy and your butt is fucking cute, but goddamn, we gotta, like, not stick any bananas in that and just take a chill.
No bananas.
Yes, if you like my little NF thing there. But yeah, yeah. So yeah, definitely. Like I feel like chasing probably could be very worse if you're number one and your DI. I know you got feminine feelings, but I actually think masculine feelings also, like, I can see the masculine SEFI maybe, being a little grabby, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, masculine modality is someone's dog walks by. I'm like,
Yes, yes. Oh my god! Like when you're in your masculine, you're such a bitch. Like, and you're traumatizing everyone. Like, and it doesn't matter if it's FE or TE or whatever, but it's like, whoa, yeah,
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 yeah. God damn. God damn. Well, why don't we get back to your writing? Like, why don't we talk about like some of your writing and your characters? Like, what
yeah.
is the characters you're focusing on?
Well, I have, like, let me think about this. I have, I guess, 3 to 4 characters. That is the main focus. The
Mhm.
first one is called Dome, which is a broke kid. It's medieval fantasy setting, by the way. But he's a broke kid who have nothing, and he have 2 friends, and he's just like rocking around and starting troubles and stealing and, just trying to survive. A young kid, right? A good kid with a good heart, but very, like, not the smartest person in town, but, like, he's a good kid, right?
Mhm.
And then we have the second one, which is a girl who is a slave in the coldest north, and then she will escape from that place because she have a tendency to kind of sneak out at night, and she's not allowed to do that because you gotta stay in your chains and, be in the concentration camp, right? And then
Mhm.
she does it and look at the stars, and it's beautiful, and then she finds something that is interesting, and then she goes back, and then in the snow you can see her footprints, and the soldiers and everything are not very happy about human beings trying to escape, so they're trying to kill her. But luckily, this is not a spoiler, this is pretty early on, she will escape and start a happy-go-lucky adventure or something like that. Not really, but she will start her adventure. And then we have the third, who is, I called him the Firefox, Mian Aquila. And he's kind of a bounty hunter. He hunts vampires, demons, monsters, everything like that. But there's a bounty on him too, because people think he is kidnapping children. They think he is a pedophile. They think he's doing shady things, and he killed someone important. Therefore, there is a bounty on his head also. He comes to the city where this broke kid Lumi is living, and basically, without saying much, kind of like takes him under his wings and train him up, and then they go on adventures together and figure out why is kids missing all the time, and who is stealing these kids, and what are they using these kids for, or whatever, right?
Mhm.
And then we have the last one, who is named Arthur. And Arthur is basically just the second oldest kid of the Northern Kings family thing. So the king have a son, right? And then it's the next son, and he kind of want to be king as well. So he's kind of trying to prove his worth by finding the fire fox and throw it at him and see, like, this is how strong and good I am and whatever, right? So that's kind of his deal, I suppose. So it's kind of like the whole story is basically a treasure hunt in some sense, and a mystery. The whole story is a mystery, both for the readers but also for the characters. Not a crime thing, thriller thing, but a mystery and a treasure hunt. Like they have to find something. Of course, becoming of age story. Yeah, sure. But also very much like it's again, there's a lot of like OPS in it. Actually, yeah. Like I'm even trying to tone it down, but it's impossible. So it's kind of like also becoming a way of like taking some of the OPS teachings and then put it into another format. I think another way of like expressing it, right? Uh,
Mm.
yeah. I think that's the like the four lead characters that are the most important. There are many characters. I kind of doing the Game of Thrones things, low key, and it's very hard for my brain to keep up with it sometimes because of my feminine Ti. I just get really watchy, but yeah, but yeah, it's great.
Cool. Um, yeah. I the funny thing is that the characters just seem for me very just like, yeah, someone will fit this role, and like I've very much been working on like the world and making it
Yeah, the
not
character's personality came a little bit later. If it's that you wanted to hear, okay, fair enough. The character's personality, Lomi is a very he's a very like optimistic kid. It's really hard to kill his fire, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
And a very strong kid. He's broke and hungry and not that big, but he's a very like a muscle kid. A little bit rowdy and maybe a little bit ADHD like, maybe a little bit like Naruto. I think Naruto from the Naruto anime. If anyone have watched that one, he's like a good kid who's just trying to do his best. He's not the smartest, but he's not dumb. Like he's not dumb. Don't
Mhm.
underestimate him. Me and the Firefox, he is a little more masculine SF, I suppose, in some sense. Like he's charming and he's cool and he's kind of like street smart. You know, he doesn't really give a fuck. He's very traumatized also, so he's kind of like running away from a lot of things also, and trying to be a ladies maker, trying to be a player. He's a good person at heart, but he's very flawed in that sense of like he lives from himself and he has always been living for himself. So his character is not so much about being extroverted and introverted, but more like he's a loner and he's an asshole to people sometimes. But his heart is still very good. Like even though he wants to like just drink his beer and not help people, if he sees people in trouble, he will be like having a discussion with himself and almost hating himself and almost like throwing up and then go help the people and then hate himself for it later because he don't want to do that. But he have to do that. Arthur is a very introverted kid. He's a very introverted guy. He's cold, um, also an asshole actually, and he has to become a better person. He's actually not that much of a heart at the beginning. He has to grow into it. He's very cold and very like reserved. Um, yeah. And the
Hmm.
girl, she's like an EP. I got, she's just pure EP, just like wandering off and going on adventure and like ADHD brain, just going, having fun. She likes the chaos and she doesn't like the control. That's why I put her in concentration camp because I thought that would be fucking hella fucking funny.
Oh. Huh. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I need to start looking at myself through that lens because it almost feels like when I've been plotting my character, I don't actually put in the EP stuff, right?
Oh,
Like,
you don't?
no, like it's
It's
always
the
just felt
decided
like
stuff then.
what?
Is it like if I stuff then? If
It
I
feels like romance, guilt,
ah
uh, anger, like but the observer stuff is, but this is gonna sound tribal, is that he is in a society, right? So like so it's about these psychic groups at war, and
oh
like right, and they have different views of the world. One like so one is like it's a masculine versus feminine thing. So one's like let's get high all
oh
the time and be happy, and one's like let's not let's let's do anything to stop ourselves from suffering, right?
yeah,
So the people who are like let's get high burn themselves to a crisp psychically,
that makes sense. That makes good
right?
sense. Yeah.
burn themselves to a crisp, and the ones who guard themselves off and are like, let's stop suffering, they are nihilistic to a like, well, like we will reap the souls of miserable people and end their suffering, like, right, like
Yeah.
it's that dark.
I
And they're
don't
like,
want to read
this
that
is
book, but if it ever makes it to the big screen, I'm definitely gonna watch it. I'm definitely
right.
gonna watch it. Like it's
So
actually sound cool. It sounds cool.
so the thing is that both sides have a type of marriage that they will like, it's almost like they're vampires and they will like psychically bind someone to be there. So he's given this chance to get this girl from the other side. Like he falls in love with someone from the other side. And then it's like he's like, well, so the guy's like, well, great, like like let's move forward with this. And then he finds himself like dagger in hand, you're about to stab her in the heart and take out
Oh,
her will. Take her own will and bind her to you. And it's like, and you're looking at the whole crowd and like all these other fire
oh, you died.
vampires are like, yeah, this is what you do. Like the
Mm.
whole society is like, yeah, you take someone else's will and you bind them to you. You bind them to you and you make them yours. And he's like, and the first book is called The Eyes of God. And I had experiences with this where I like was hallucinating. Whenever I closed my eyes, I'd see eyes. And so I'm like, he's in the crowd and there's this guardian angel, this Christ like guy who shows up and he's always jovial and his name's John Cunningham. Oh my gosh, someone told me. Okay, never mind. But like John Cunningham, and he's like, he shows up to people in a familiar form to them. So he'll show up to different characters as different races.
Oh,
But he's always like wearing the same thing, and he's like, I'm John Cunningham. And he shows up in the crowd and he's just looking at him and he's like like everyone's like, yeah. And there's just one guy like, and he's just like, so he sees this psychic line going down into her chest, and it's like this premonition that's like, this is where the dagger's going, and he's like tries to pull it up and he can't, and so he pulls it down and stabs himself in his solar plexus, cuts himself off from his fire.
Sure.
And cuts himself off from his fire. And then he's so guilty that he becomes like, it's whatever the mind believes is what comes true.
Yeah.
So if you see yourself as a monster and can't forgive yourself, you become a monster.
Yeah.
So he becomes a Wendigo or a ghoul, and eventually he has to kind of get healed and saved. And then he wears that cloak, the cloak of this werewolf-like creature for the rest of the story. Well, not for the rest of the story.
I see. Interesting.
But like, it's like wearing the cloak of the monster that you are, and like then you like, and then he loses all those powers, and he just has this cloak of psychic protection. It's just like,
Can I ask, is the FI for you, like, are the fire inside of you? Is that your FI? Or is that the FI in general? Or the DI? Let's just say DI.
I've had someone tell me, I went to an art museum in Europe, and I had someone tell me that they pointed at this one painting, and it was this fluid, like fleshy smoke. And it would look like a smoky, like kinetic bullet.
Yeah.
And they just said, that's you. And I'm like, I don't know what you mean. So I almost wonder if there is something to you that the fire is like the masculine DE, like that is fiery in a sense.
Yeah, I feel like my TI is ice and my FE is fire. But I feel like sometimes it seems like even to myself that I'm savior FI because the way my functions and math plays out. So sometimes that becomes just fire, but also can become ice. So there's a middle ground in that where it becomes both fire and ice. But the masculine FE sometimes feels like it, and the reason why it feels like fire is not necessarily because it feels like fire, it can do, but it not necessarily. It's because the masculine FE needs to be tamed and controlled and like nurtured. If it doesn't get nurtured, or it gets treated the wrong way, and not by other people necessarily, but like if I don't, you know, do something about the FE, then it will come out of control and do its thing, and that will become very fire-like. So what I mean by that is like masculine FE is so it's really powerful. It's actually a very strong function to have. So it's kind of like having an atom bomb inside of your palm, but you have no control over it. So it's kind of like you have to learn to control the fire. If you have fire, if you don't have fire, you will freeze in the night and die of coldness, and you can't even make food or whatever, right? But if you let the fire grow too big, you will burn the forest down, and then everyone will fucking die, even you included. So that's why for me it's fire, because it's about like the control with the emotion and like having because fire is a powerful tool, but it needs to be used responsibly. I think Adolf Hitler didn't use his FE, masculine FE, responsibly. And if you don't use it responsibly, bad shit will happen. Therefore, you need to learn to like somewhat tame that beast, because masculine FE is such a beast. It's a little bitch, it's a little kid, but it's like imagine a little kid, right? But just big and strong on steroids, like bigger than everyone. Like it's so dumb, but it's a kid still. It's maturely just yeah. So it's like kind of like that. You kind of have to tame the masculine FE and be very conscious about it, especially when it's a demon and it's double activated. Ugh. It's a ride, man. It's a ride. I imagine that with TE too, masculine TE blast especially. I remember in the Discord chat you actually said something, and I was like, oh my god, that's such like, generally speaking, just like demon masculine DE and just masculine blast. Like, oh my shit.
What? Wait. Do you remember what it was?
No, sadly not. I think
Were
it
you
was
like
also
cringing?
I think, yeah, no, I wasn't cringing. I was like, oh my god, that's the same fucking dumb shit I do with my masculine blast. Like, it's the same. God, and I can't remember what exactly is. I think it was something you said and did where you were actually a little bit controlling and like a little bit, like this. And I was like, oh my god, that's such a masculine blast, like giving directions or something. It was just like, nice. I respect
Like,
that.
That's it feels like a very inherent contradiction in me. Is just like the people in my life are so used to me being blast last,
Yeah.
right? But
Oh,
then
no.
the new people in my life are like I'm like, you gotta go, you gotta
Yeah.
do this thing, you gotta throw yourself out. The thing is, the people who know me as blast last are also like, you've transformed. So they're like,
How is that though? Like, how is like do they like the transformation, or they
yeah,
like?
oh
Oh, they
yeah,
like it.
oh yeah, oh yeah. They all tell me that they're proud of me. They're like, I know I have one of my friends was a therapist who was like, I was telling my boyfriend, I was like, Henry has changed like no one I've ever seen, and there's someone who works with people to heal trauma.
That's nice. That's really nice, actually.
Like, the thing is people who are like, you're just this person who wants to help everyone. I'm like, you don't know how dark I was.
Yeah.
You don't know how miserable and how dark I was, and how like, oh, and it's just like it's almost like when I see someone else there, I'm like, oh god, like I want to give you the juice, but you don't believe me. You won't believe how angry and hateful I was.
Yeah.
And it was like, while it's happier, it's more fun to it's more of a joy to give to others. Like, I started realizing like I get satisfaction. I started becoming insular, but like
Yeah.
like, and I will say even this channel helped me with that, because my first couple of interviews, I got some feedback sometimes from other YouTubers who were like, hey, it's an interview, dummy, stop talking about yourself, you're supposed to interview them. And then they were like, and then I was like, okay, next 2 interviews, I'm like, I'm just gonna focus on the other person. and then people were like, hey, wow, you really turned that around, I've never seen someone change that. I'm like, yeah, here we go. Now we're kicking with fire. Like,
Yeah, it's so hard as a DI not to talk about yourself. I see that as well. When I'm
Yeah.
talking to people, not generally speaking, just generally speaking, right? When I'm talking
Mm.
to people, I'm trying so hard to like ask the other person question and be more interested in the other person. But as soon as they ask, so what are you doing or whatever they ask, right? I'm just like, I'm just going on, and
It
I won't
still
stop.
it still happens, yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm like, the conversation is done, and then we walking away, right? And then I'm like, fuck, I didn't ask this person a single goddamn question. God
I
fuck them.
know, I
Like,
know. Well, if you want to work on that, start doing interviews.
I actually have. I don't know if you noticed, but I have two interviews, live interviews actually, and I'm planning
Wait,
on doing more. Actually, I'm
you're
planning.
interviewing others?
Yes, yes. I
Awesome.
just, it's not as I corrected to say that I just started on it, but yeah, it was something I started for some months ago now. Like it's pretty chill. It's nothing big. It's nothing seriously. Like it is what it is. But it's very fun. I actually like it. I love it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I feel like I love doing the interviews. I love meeting. Like it's kind of like this is my thing, and now I talk to you. Like
Yeah.
that's kind of how it feels.
Yeah.
Um, and but I'm also like I kind of did what I was like came here to do, like
Yeah.
like focus on social type. That's what I was interested in at the time, and then
Oh yeah, that's right. You actually were you now you're saying it. I did notice that you never rarely talked about the functions or anything like that. It was all about the social type. But when you did the YouTube channel, I'm pretty sure the social types just came out. Like it was very recently, wasn't it?
yes, but I will say the thing was is I was talking to someone who
Mm.
told me about the social types, and I was studying a type of political philosophy that was talking about the
Ah.
same thing. So when it
Oh.
came up, literally they were talking about there are the born aristocrats, and there are the middle class, and the dependents, and this is how you organize them. And I was like, so I was obsessed with that. So
Mm.
it's like perfect timing, and I got the information a bit early. I was processing it all the time, and I was also like, why am I such an asshole? Why am I so like I'm an ENFP. Why am I such an asshole?
Mm.
And then it just was like, okay, I need people to understand social type. Like,
Makes sense. Yeah,
so,
makes
and I
sense.
need to understand social type. So it was
You
very
feel like
much
you
like,
understand it now? You feel like you understand it now? Or is it still?
yeah. But the thing is I also realized that like it could be on more of a spectrum. So
What do you mean spectrum?
like I don't know. It might. Do Dave and Shan really understand science? They're putting everything into binary. Science does spectrums. So they
Yeah.
are putting it into a spectrum that they're putting it on an introverted, extroverted way, and they are
Mm.
judging by which is above which. That's totally possible, but there is no feasible way to measure if it's a binary by just going like
I know what you mean. Yeah.
right. Like they are not are the scientific way, which would be clocking every word, putting a timer on it. And the thing
Mm.
is, that's not feasible. Like they're doing enough. It's not feasible to do that. Now with assisted AI technology that literally highlighted everything,
Mm.
blocked it, and went, hey, we think this is a 75% chance this is decider talk. And then putting it in a chart that would feel more scientific. I think that would feel more scientific.
Yeah, I think
But
you. Yeah. I get that. I get that. Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
exactly. So it's like, so it's kind of like trust us, we're the experts, and I get it. But the thing is I'm like, nope. But what's weird now is all the people meeting me now think I'm an
Mm.
extrovert.
Yeah. That's interesting.
And they go, "You're an extrovert." I'm like, you don't know how much time I need to myself. Like, but the thing is when I come out, I'm very explosive.
Yeah.
And then it's like, how are you supposed to explain to people that like an introvert is an extrovert in their box? Like, no one understands that. It takes more complex
I
understanding.
actually found a way to explain it so people understand it a little bit better. The thing is that you are both an introvert and an extrovert at the same time. So
Mhm.
you have an introverted side, and for example, let's just say your introverted side is NIFI, right? Then your extroverted side is the SETE. And then you will have a more dominant one, you will have one who is a savior and a demon, right? But I put it up in that sense of like both worlds exist, because I have noticed that people have a hard time, either you're an introvert or you're an extrovert, and there's no in between, and it's very hard for people to actually understand that. So I have seen, no, you are an intro, you have an introverted side and you have an extroverted side, and some people are just more dominant over here and over there, but you have both, and you can be in both, and you can have a period of your life, you can have 5 years or 1 year or a month where you are super introverted, but your type is double masculine, play plus consume or something like that, right? And be the biggest introvert in the world for a year or something. You can
Yeah.
do that, and that will fucking happen, because you also have an introverted side, like it exists. So
But here's the problem with
mm.
what you said. How do you dumb that down for a layperson?
Yeah,
That they
see, I don't got the TE to dumb it down, so
exactly
that's the
right.
problem. Yeah,
So
yeah.
like my blast last is often going like, don't give them all the information.
Yeah. Okay.
Because what is teaching but simplifying something to it? Like this is how you have to teach people. You give them the dumber version.
It's true. Sure. Yeah.
It's true. It's true until they like build up. I do want to get to Sasha is asking some questions. What was it?
Oh, interesting.
Do you think you have to be an asshole to be a one? No.
Yes. No, I don't. I don't
Anyone
think
can
you
be an
have to be an
asshole.
asshole. Yeah, I don't. I don't think you have to be an asshole. I just think that that the number ones can have a tendency to be assholes, but I don't think they necessarily are assholes. I most people actually don't call me an asshole. I have a lot of other flaws that they will call me and judge me on, but asshole is actually not one of them. It's a very few people who think I'm mean and an asshole like that, like a number one braggy asshole. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
that's actually
I used to be though, and now people who
oh
met me knew go, "You're so sensitive, you're so kind, you're so sweet."
yeah, and that's the thing. That's the
But
thing. People have the opposite of me. They're like, "You're so kind and so sweet. How do you have that like that violence in you? You're talking about?" And then like, but once they get
this
to
is
know me, they can see
humankind.
it.
The people don't
Yeah,
understand the contradictions. People
yeah,
don't understand that. Like that's the hardest thing to communicate is how do you have a contradiction?
yeah.
I know this is me observing, but like
No, it's
people
true. It's true. Yeah.
people don't see it. They have trouble seeing it. It's completely necessary for your existence. But it's like one of the moral pillars of like psychology was like purity, and it's like why?
Mm.
It's like so you are interfaceable. So you are so it's known what you are. It's not complicated, so I can interface with you. That's
Mm.
what purity is about. It's
Yeah.
like you're a warrior, don't go cry. But then there have been warrior poets. There have been cultures that have warrior poets who are very, and it's like the power is in letting both
Yes.
connect,
Yes.
but
Yes. Yes.
people don't understand that.
Yes. Agreed. Agreed. I have been like finally, my feminine NT side and my masculine side have finally become friends and finally working together and finally actually finding a peaceful middle ground. Like in me, those two contradictions have definitely been in conflict a lot. And I can see other people have a hard time also processing that I have that contradiction. Like, because I'm super, super friendly and feminine, and then I'm like really gangster and messed up. Um, I think that definitely, and that's the thing. Like you gotta find harmony between these two sides, because for me it's yeah. You gotta balance yin and yang, right? Just to connect it to that, you gotta balance, and that's hard sometimes. But yeah, no, it is wild, and I think also the contradictions. It's something you as a human being. That's the problem. Also, you kind of hide it away because you're ashamed of it, right? You don't want to show people that side of you. Maybe I'm single decide I'm biased here, but But I feel like a
Well,
lot of people don't want to show it, and they unconsciously know that they have that side. But most of the time, I've noticed they don't even themselves really know that they have these contradictions. Sometimes they do, like they have like 5 seconds where you can see them actually being conscious of it, and then they just go back to normal.
well,
It's really weird.
I mean, like I've always trying to explain some of it to someone, and then I was
Mm.
like, "Oh, your saviors are your strengths," but that's not necessarily true. Sometimes your masculines are your strengths,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Right? Like where you are. So someone will be like ST, and then but they'll be masculine at NF, and they'll be so sure of the NF. They'll be so sure of it. They'll be like,
Yeah.
"I have to be NF." I'm like, well, I'm seeing that you're not intuiting things, and you're really like I thought there was someone in my life who I thought was an ENFP,
Mm.
and then they were triggered by control, but completely different types of control.
Oh,
So, and then I told someone, they were like, "Hey, that's someone who's lead SE. Very likely, that's what the lead SEs are afraid of.
yeah.
That's like you're afraid of the paperwork." Now, I will say, like, I noticed this recently to talk about an observer thing is like
Yeah,
the
go on.
masculine SI. I will um, like I said, like the dishes are so hard, but it's like I was like, oh, which chores do I enjoy doing more? Like when I start doing them, it's like okay, putting the dishes in the cubby thing, like oh, I actually start enjoying that.
Yeah.
But when it's the folding and the flowy, or the put like, I'm like I'm dead. I'm
Interesting.
dead. I get like I do not like
Yeah,
the
that
doing the
thing.
feminine sensory, but it's like, oh, now that I'm actually vacuuming, pushing the thing around, like, oh, I don't hate this.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, what is it? But it's like, oh, making a list. The hardest thing about making lists was like it'd be so hard to change it. It'd be like I wrote this and I didn't do it. Now I'm a failure. And now it's like, nope, you just have a thing in your system where you put a circle and a cross out for nullified. Don't need to do that. And you just let it happen. So it was by allowing my SI to be more feminine that I was able to
Mm.
use it.
Ah, yeah, yeah, sure, yeah, sure. I have tried that too. That sometimes you gotta soften up the SI to like really get good SI actually. Because if you're too masculine with the SI, it's kind of like you're choking a baby. It will die out of air.
Yeah, choking a baby. So masculine.
Yeah. Yes.
But
Yes.
so yeah, that I mean, like, let's get to your sleep. Let's talk about habits. Well, we're both sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
How have
Yeah.
you worked on habits? Like, what habits have you worked on that have helped you? Have you
Uh,
had to do any research into um,
habits and how
Atomic
to.
Habits or any of that? The thing is, I didn't. I started listening to the book, and I was like, this is so dry and so boring. But like, and I was like, oh yeah, I've always been supposed to listen to this, and my brother's listening. And then, but like, what actually got me off was I just watched a video that just had one diagram of like habit, action, whatever, and I just started using like hook, action, habit. So it's just like I do this creates a hook for that. I do this creates a hook, and like that's all I need to know as an intuitive. Actually, it was like,
Interesting.
yeah,
I think for me, like, and this is the boring answer. Like, I can see how I'm a double observer because it just comes natural to me. Like, my body just tells me instantly how to do it and what to do and how it's like. So it's very also easy for me to soften up the SI, the masculine SI,
yeah,
and or do the NE for that matter. Like, it's not that hard. So no, I haven't really studied that much of routine because it's something I already very much know. Plus, both my parents are ISTJs. One is SIFI and one is SITE. So I have generally my whole family is some kind of SI type in some sense. Um, so I have kind of my whole life just been beating with SI. So I just naturally like have a like not necessarily that I do the SI. Probably I can still be a kid with it sometimes because the NE is more fun sometimes. But I just naturally can feel like, oh, this needs SI and you not need to do this, and the reason why the SI doesn't work is because you got to do this and this. And when I respect the SI, I'm actually naturally very good at it, and I have had a lot of ADHD friends and a lot of EP friends also, and one of the reasons they love me was because my brain was just so naturally organized. So I just like
Mm.
every time we had to do something or plan something, like I was the one that had, the control all the time, because my brain just automatically, naturally, just, doom, 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 doom. And then it had like this checkpoint, and naturally, like I don't even have to write it down sometimes. Like it just, my body can just feel like, now we need to do this, and now we need to do this, and now, so it's very, it's a kinesthetic, natural, like I'm just going with whatever the body like guides me to. I do notice that I do like take the time to be more like conscious about the SI, because I try to be conscious about every function, to be honest. But generally speaking, I definitely see that I don't have to be that conscious about the SI. Like I don't have to put all my energy to like, you know what I mean. Like I don't have to put all my effort and all my energy and all my self growth into building the SI. I definitely, and I'm also currently now trying to build some new SI for myself, some new routines to change some things in my life. Um, but it's not my biggest problem in life. Like I'm okay with the SI. If you ask my mother, she would tell you otherwise. But I'm fine with the SI. It's not something I like. Yeah, it's more the FE stuff that I have to be mindful about, and I have to like check and be conscious about, and the TI for that matter. I have to be conscious about my consciousness of TI. It's very meta sometimes.
Well, I mean, I know I talked about the relationships in a like observatory way, and and I like the feedback that you gave me that you're like,
Oh,
oh
nice.
yeah, EPs talk about that a lot. But it does feel like what is the way to tell the truth at the right time
Mm,
and continue to do it. So that's T, right? Thinking truth.
yeah,
So it's like
yeah,
for you, it's like what's the right way to share the feelings
yes. It's like
and
it's not so much about telling the truth, it's more about like how do you tell the truth with the FE, right? Because you can tell the truth, you can tell your TI truth, but it have to be FE appropriate. You have to do it, you have to choose the right words, and you have to choose the right tone, and the way you're moving your body and everything. Like, because if you don't, like, you really do fuck up
people
with that.
read that
Yes.
people. But the thing is there have been like on the phone there have been like, hey, like I said, hey, I need my headphones back, and they're like, well, if you don't, if you want it back, then you can. I'm like, I didn't say, and they're like, oh yeah, you're right. Like it's just like someone maybe masculine D.
Yeah, probably, maybe. Shit. Damn.
And I was like, no, it's fine. Like, but the thing is, I worry that I get so much in my like feminine FI focused on some of them. Like,
Mm,
so I think the only thing that is like it's like you got to be practicing with everyone.
yeah.
That you're like, I am always trying to share how it works. And the other thing is that I think if it is about if I have to FE, I have to just be like, hey, I honestly felt this thing. No, no, I'm not sure. I'm still working that out. I'm like, I feel this is something wrong.
Mm,
Like, no answer needed. Like there are weird psychosomatic things with my body where I was doing a fortune telling for a guy, and my throat tightened up near the end of it. I was like, "Hey, my throat's tightening up. Do you have trouble telling the truth?" And it was a man who was gay, having trouble
mm,
with his family. So I go, "Okay, gay. Maybe he's FENE, demon TI, all that stuff." And I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
and stuff. I'm like, hey, and I feel the throat tight. My body starts telling me because your nervous system is through your own body.
Mm,
I go, do you have trouble telling the truth at the end? He's like, yeah, I think so. Like, I think I am having trouble telling the truth to
Yeah.
people. I was like, huh. Like, it literally, like, was just, like, hurting, like, almost like I was choking.
That's interesting. I definitely also have experience where the body is like reacting to something, and you can connect it with OPS in some sense, right? I don't have any specific like detailed history with it, story with it, but I definitely have experienced a lot where like the okay, I have one, I guess, but it's not really a story. You know how your body sometimes reacts to certain different types depending on what kind of type you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
So as a feminine Ti, I can be a little bit sensitive to masculine savior Te at times, right? So my body reacts to certain things. If someone is my opposite type, like I cannot handle that, like my body reacts, and I'm so conscious about it because I use this a lot for typing. When I'm typing something, I don't really type anymore. I've been holding a long break, but when I did used to use my chemical reaction a lot. Like, do I get pissed off by this person, or do this person, like, you know what I mean, like what kind of emotion does this person give me? Because it probably like can tell something, and it most often actually does. So I definitely have like because I'm trying not to type people when I'm just normal every day. I'm trying to turn it off and not type anyone and just have fun with the people. But sometimes people like with certain types comes in and my body just instantly react, and I'm just like, oh, what, shit, because my body, I'm going into typing mode and I shouldn't be in typing mode right now. So yeah, there are times definitely the body reacts. It's weird, like, or even like if people, like, if he is showing emotions with your face, right? So if people are very like emotional and there's a lot of emotions in the room, like I die. I cringe so hard. I cannot stand a lot of different emotions, or just other people's expressive whatever emotions. It's so cringe. Like I die every time. And if you throw some awkwardness into it and some awkward single deciding into it, I die. I die every time. Like I cannot handle it at all, at all. So yeah,
The
definitely.
awkwardness.
Yeah, like if comedy movies, right? They will sometimes take like a very nerdy guy, right? And then he gotta go up to this cute girl, and he gets all awkward, and then he get a boner, and that's so awkward, and whatever, right? That they might do to make a funny scene, right? And it is funny, but I just die because it's so awkward. Like it's not that I become the person, but it's just like I'm in the room and I'm just like, stop being so goddamn fucking cringe, please. Can we like tone this down or something? Because like the big explosiveness of emotions of the FE is fucking triggering sometimes. Um, and I'm aware of it, so I try to like just let
Oh,
it,
you're making
fly.
everyone uncomfortable. I've
No,
had,
not
like, I
necessarily
used to
I
have
do,
trouble
but
watching The
someone does.
Office. Like, I'd have to watch the American Office from like outside the room because like I was like, oh my god, this is so awkward. But it's kind of changed to where I'm like, no, this is funny. But
Yeah,
there are
yeah,
times where I'm like, I just try and take everything like that, and it's like, maybe that's too much. But if we're
yeah,
like, hey, I hope you don't think that's actually funny. Like,
yeah. It's like that. Like I can definitely like. It's not unbelievable. Like I can take it. I do take it and I do watch it, but it's just like I can still feel the body chemicals, if that makes sense. Like I can feel it, and then it's like just tone it down and being more accepted by it, or accepting it. Yeah, it's not something big. It's just interesting. Something. It's just something interesting that I have found with myself. Like when there is a lot of emotions, and when the emotions are awkward, like I die every time. So yeah. And it's not about me even. It's not like it's not me being awkward or fucking something up necessarily. It can be two other people that I have, you know what I mean? Like no contact with. Like I'm just bypassing and watching it, and I just get secondhand cringe from it, so hard. So
yeah, okay. Well, I think it's been an hour. I think we need to start wrapping it up.
yes.
Is there anything else you'd love to talk about for a little bit?
No, just found some questions. I came pretty like unprepared. I was just like, let's see what this funny ENFP dude have. You know what I mean? Like, just what kind of any curiosity could you might have about this Freudian type? Yes, I will fuck your mother, and I do coke. If anyone will ask.
What? What? Mother? What? Huh?
Huh? Huh? Did I just fuck up the vibe again? Shit.
Don't worry. I did so last weekend.
Damn. Yeah, what's not about that? FI people actually fucking up the vibe sometimes more than think of people. Like,
so, well, I mean, my excuse is I saw a meme that said you have to go up Cringe Mountain to get to the land of cool.
yeah.
So I got this idea since it was karaoke. There was a legendary moment at the New York OP meetup where someone sang Stacy's mom, except they changed it to my mom. So they just said, my mom has got to go. And we were just dying. So in this really weird, fucked off emotional state I was in, I was like, let's do this, but for the person whose party it is. So me and another person got up. Luckily, my microphone was cut out the entire time and no one heard me. So I was just falling over laughing.
God saved you with that one. He turned that off. Like, that was...
And literally, no. And literally, her mom was there earlier and said hi to me, and we had talked. And she left, and then her son was there. And he, like, I remember him looking at me like this. And we were just like, so-and-so's mom has got it going. And what's ironically is I was like, I should be so embarrassed and so dead and I should die. And I felt guilty the last few days. I'm like, I should send an apology. Like, I am feeling that way. And I'm like, but wait, her son was there, but her son's wife came up and was talking to you and was having a nice time talking to you and asked, like, didn't even notice. It's like when I kind of look around, no one was looking. No one.
But I don't think you're the first guy to be like, I will fuck your mother. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think you're the first one to do that. People do that all the time. I do that too. I think there was a time actually. I don't remember if it's me or my friend, but one of us was like, "Your mother is kind of hot," and the mother actually heard it because the mother was in the room.
It was a joke. I was doing it for the confidence. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, everyone. I am so sorry. Please forgive me.
It's odd. I think it's odd. It's a good joke. Who doesn't love a good "I will fuck your mother" joke? Like, for real, like, yeah.
I asked her for permission first.
That's considerate of you. That's really sweet.
She said,
actually.
wait
That's
till
really
she
sweet.
leaves, then you can do it. So it's like...
Is she single, though?
And I'm pretty embarrassed.
But is the mother single, though? Because that would make it... Oh, okay. Then it doesn't fucking matter at all, actually.
Okay.
Because if she was single, maybe there would be a little bit of a threat of like you actually might do it. You know what I mean?
So okay. I am kiboshing this conversation. We are done. I have confessed my sins.
Yes, it's that.
I am so sorry, the world. I am so sorry. Won't do it. I swear, won't do it again.
I will pray to God 5 times a day, I promise, and donate money to homeless children and be a good kid.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Stop. The cringing is done.
Oh, shit.
Say goodbye, Andreas.
Goodbye, people. Remember to find a cute mother and fuck her.